how would you know if your own thoughts have become delusional? Like your brain is so powerful. Your brain can convince you of anything. And the more that you feed that idea that's there, the bigger it can grow until it becomes such a strong belief that you start looking at everybody else around you thinking they're all wrong and you're right. You're the only person that's right. The brain is so incredible. But when it becomes delusional, you tend to push everybody else away. Like everybody else is wrong and you're the only person that's right. And you're kind of looking for those other people out there that have that same belief as you, so you can migrate together. And then you feel like, I'm not so stupid, because there's got to be something in there that's saying, well, if I'm so right with this thought, why isn't everybody else having the same thought? So if you went to a doctor, you get diagnosed with bipolar, you get diagnosed with schizophrenia, you get diagnosed with some kind of mental health condition. Because the brain is amazing. Like, we can convince ourselves of so much stuff. And there's things like cryptic pregnancies where a woman will be so thoroughly convinced that she's pregnant, her body will actually look like it's 9 months pregnant. She will feel the baby kicking inside, yet when she goes and has an ultrasound, there is no fetus on the machine. There's nothing to view. She has a pregnancy test. It's a negative, yet her brain has convinced her body it is pregnant. So it looks pregnant, and she is thoroughly convinced. Now, whether this is she's feeling some kind of soul connection, that she's thoroughly convinced that she has this child growing inside of her, but scientifically there is nothing there. Excuse me. Same with religion. People can get into such a religious delusional state that their beliefs is that everybody alive has a demon inside of them and is all out to get them. They are thoroughly convinced, so they have to kill them. They have to kill all these demons. They take it upon themselves, and it makes them turn into a murderer, or they want to harm people that they feel like have demons in them, as a way to protect themselves. I see comments quite a lot on social media that say that Jesus is coming back. Now, my critical thinking wants to ask them questions. I'm not wanting to judge them. I just want to know, well, if he's coming back, is he coming back the same? Is he coming back to be born in a stable? Is he coming back dressed in robes? Is he going to look exactly the same as he looked? Or is he going to come back looking like just a normal child and we have to guess who it is? Like, how are they going to know that there's so many billions of children born? How do they know which one's going to be Jesus? And when he was alive, the population on the earth around that time was between 150 million to 200 million. So coming back in the future, there's 7 billion and there's going to be more. How do you control 7 billion people around, like spread out around this entire world in all these different countries? His existence was in one area of the earth. Like, Jesus's existence didn't have any impact at all on Aboriginal people that were living on Australian land in that time. There was no impact there. There was only an impact on that little area. I actually read somebody that someone is so convinced in some religious beliefs that it's such a delusional state of being. What if somebody in that delusional state of being wrote the Bible? You don't know. You don't know who wrote it. There's several different versions of it. So there's these delusions in pregnancies, delusions in religions. There's delusions in people thinking there's demons with everybody. There's delusions with, I even, like, when I hear people saying, if I put one picture of my scenery here where I live and there's a picture of clouds, somebody will comment saying that the clouds have got spray in them. And I have lots of like critical thinking. I'm thinking like, okay, well, the wind's blowing. If there's if there's a massive bushfire and you see like big plumes of smoke, within 2 days, that's all gone. The wind blows it away. Now, where's it? It doesn't fall back down to the earth. It just blows away. If someone sprayed something, I even know that like when people are spraying crops, they have to come so far down low on top of their crops. Otherwise, the spray just doesn't even reach the crops. It blows away. That's why a crop duster has to come down so low. So if they're supposedly way up high spraying stuff, where is it blowing to? And where I live, like the world is huge. The world is huge, and there is a hell of a lot of places out there that's remote, and people live in places that are not near cities. You know, some of us live in little country rural areas where planes don't fly over. We don't have drones. We don't have planes. And it's kind of like they get stuck in this belief of where they live. Where they live, something's happening. If they live in a city area, if they live wherever they're living, if it's happening to them, there is this sudden belief that it must be happening to everybody else in the world the same. And that is not true. It's just not happening. I even see it with your comments on social media. Something will be happening in a place and they'll go, don't go out there. It's dangerous out there. And then you'll see another 50 comments saying, well, I live there too and there's nothing dangerous. I'm in the same area. It's perception. Again, it's perception. So how do you know if your beliefs have not become delusional? Have you crossed the line? What if you were a kid and kids are innocent, kids trust adults, and as you're growing up, you're taught there's a Father Christmas. You're taught at Christmas time there's this man called Father Christmas that lives in the North Pole, and magically he comes down chimneys and leaves presents under the tree. And you're taught at Easter time there is this Easter bunny that hops around and leaves chocolate eggs. And there's even a tooth fairy that when you go, you put your tooth under the pillow and a fairy flies in and takes your tooth. Now, it's magical. Isn't it magical to teach these children magic, fantasy, imagination? But they're also being lied to by their parents. It is a lie because when they eventually find out the truth, they've just realised for all these years their parents have been telling them a lie about Father Christmas, Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy. So in most cases, I would say in most cases, kids can accept that and just get on with life and then do the same thing over. When they have their own children, they continue the tradition. But are there kids out there that take that as a mistrust? Like, I trusted my parents and now I have a reason not to trust them because they've been lying to me. Can that in some way convince the brain to not trust in some way, not trust anyone, and to be so protective of the self that to see everything else out there is out to get me or is out to lie to me? Like things like that. That's what my critical thinking does. My critical thinking will think of so many different questions around something. But a person that has become delusional doesn't ask those questions. In their mind, they are right and the world is wrong. So what are you? Are you a critical thinker or have you become delusional?